Hello ladies and gentlemen, Top Hat Gaming Man here, and today I have decided to tackle the subject of the Gamecube. I have come to the conclusion that the Gamecube is not a retro gaming console, and I would like to punch in the face anybody who would say otherwise, yes. So, let's talk about the word retro first of all. I've actually got it written down over there, so let me squint and see what it says exactly. Imitative of a style or fashion from the recent past, such as retro 60s fashion. So, based on the dictionary definition alone, the only retro consoles that are really in existence are systems such as the Super Nintendo Classic Edition or the Atari Flashback, for example, because they are systems that have been specifically made in order to basically copy the past. I suppose you have retro games as well, but if they're retro games, it'd have to be stuff that's been inspired to look old, such as Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight would be a retro game because it's basically been made to look a little bit 8-bit, if you understand what I'm saying. The art style makes it a retro game. But in terms of actual retro consoles, like I said, the only ones that really exist are the flashback consoles and the minis and all stuff like that. So the Gamecube, based on the dictionary definition alone, is 100% not a retro console. However, you all know this discussion is going to go a little bit deeper than that. Many people basically define retro gaming as basically games from the past. But where do you really draw that line? Personally, I have always drawn the line at the Dreamcast. And I think every sane person should be drawing the line there as well. And here is the reason why. Basically, that is when gaming completely shifted and changed focus. From going all the way back to the early days of the Atari VCS, all the way up until the Dreamcast, home consoles were essentially trying to do one thing. It was basically a race to be creating almost arcade perfect games. So games which looked and played just as good as what you could get in the arcade. That was not achieved until the days of the Dreamcast. So the Dreamcast was the console that finally managed to reach the same level of what you could play outside your home, essentially. And on top of that as well, the Dreamcast also introduced other tropes as well, like it was the first games console that worked well online, so it brought online gaming to the forefront too. And so moving on from that, gaming completely changed. Everything changed, so the style of games, which I would think of as retro, anything post that, it's not retro because you're looking at playing something completely different. Now let's look at the next generation. You've got the Gamecube, which is the main discussion point of this video. I'll grab mine here. Yes, the Gamecube is from the same generation as the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. Like I said, once everything had changed. The bloody PlayStation 2, you could bloody play DVDs on it. It was a multimedia centre, much like most consoles you have today. And DVDs are still in popular use today as well. Like everything before the PlayStation 2, people were mainly using VHSs in order to watch their old videos and stuff. They were using VHS tapes in their VCRs. So as you can see, that's one of the reasons why everything PlayStation 2 onwards is very modern. And another reason is, like I said, the online capabilities. The original Xbox is really the system that did change everything majorly, because the original Xbox was kind of a lot like a PC. That was when consoles stopped trying to chase the arcade and instead strive to be better than the PC. Again, they've never reached that goal. The PC is still far superior to any consoles that are around today, like graphically and powerfully. And so basically the Xbox's business model has always been essentially, let's try and make a console that's a little bit like a PC. And since that, Sony have seemed to have followed suit as well. So the PlayStation 4 is a little bit like an underpowered PC as well. Nintendo, I suppose, they're still trying to do something a little bit different. But that, for me, is why I would never class the Gamecube as retro. Because it's from the modern era. It's just modern. Like you play Mario Odyssey and you play Mario Sunshine, graphically, they don't look that much different. You are literally playing exactly the same style games. So, I've always been kind of set in my ways regarding that. That's where you draw the lines at Dreamcast. Some people would say even earlier than that, but I think the arcade to PC's jump pretty much is a perfect way to splice the two time periods down the middle. However, here's where it gets interesting. I recently saw this magazine in Tesco's, and I actually ended up purchasing it because it really does make me read. Like, I just saw this and got really triggered! Look at this! Bloody Super Mario Sunshine on the front of Retro Gamer magazine! What the bloody hell is that all about? If you look in the pages, it's all stuff on like Amigas and ZX Spectrums and Atari 800 XLs, like classic microcomputers of the past from the 80s, and they've stuck a bloody game from 2002 on the front cover. Like, would you bloody call a Ford KA, which was also made in 2002, would you call a Ford KA from 2002 a retro car? No, you bloody wouldn't, would you? Or I don't know, would you call, I don't know, Robbie Williams' bloody Millennium song from the year 2000, would you call that a retro song? No, you wouldn't. So what's this ridiculous, like, ethos with gamers trying to claim anything that is more than 2 generations old retro? It's just a ridiculous thing, isn't it? We've obviously already discussed the definition itself doesn't fit whatsoever anyway, but to try and claim that anything more than 2 generations old is automatically going to become retro is absurd. You might as well ditch the term altogether, because it will not be a term you'll be able to use to classify anything. It will literally just become a waste of time. So if you're going to go around calling every game that came out like 10 years ago retro, you might as well not use the term at all, because you won't be able to use it to classify anything. So you've literally just completely diluted and nullified the term into nothingness, haven't you? It's absolutely bloody ridiculous. So yes, it is interesting. If you actually read this magazine, there's very little in the way of stuff from the Gamecube, the PlayStation 2, etc. It is genuine retro games. So it makes me think that they probably put Super Mario Sunshine on the front cover in kind of a clickbaity technique, the same way I market my videos. Maybe they're trying to get a younger, stupider demographic to read their magazine, so they're having to use modern games on the front of a retro gaming magazine in order to try and get in new audiences, perhaps. That's my theory anyway, because I said this magazine has always been very microcomputer orientated, with little other bits mixed in here and there, like you can read about the CDI, the Jaguar, you know, all those fun little forgotten systems. So yes, overall, those are the reasons why the Gamecube is not a retro gaming system. And I fully stand by that point. Let me know what you all believe in my comment section. Do you think I am completely wrong regarding this and I'm literally just spouting hatred for no reason? Like I said, let me know in the comment section. It will be fun to have a lovely debate. Thank you for joining me, and please click one of the annotations. Don't forget to like and subscribe too. Cheerio! You all right?